welcome everybody. We're officially started. We're officially live. It's January 19th, 2018. How did it get to be January 19th already? January's almost over. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Welcome to folks who are joining us on live. We can't thank you. I can't thank you enough. It's especially today for the people on live. There's always issues getting on the compound, but today, just to let you know, they've changed the rules about access, so I think that's maybe part of it. So at any rate, we've got a couple more people coming for sure. So I thought we'd just go around, do some quick introductions. I'll start with the housekeeping, not super interesting, but just a few details. Then we'll do an icebreaker, and then we'll dive into the topic today, which is the Community Canvas, which is a really cool free tool that I just linked to one of the sort of summaries, but on their website they have lots of other tools there. So does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
You get a thumbs up?
Yes.
You get an amen? You get a good morning, I made it on the compound and I made it online and I'm happy and I've had a successful day, so even if this session sucks, it's been a success. And it's not going to suck. It's not going to suck. Okay, so why don't we go around and just let us know who you are and what your calling is. Now don't freak out about that, like, oh, I have to have a mission statement. No, it's just like what's keeping you interested and intrigued. It could be work related, it could be a hobby that, it could be a goal that you set for yourself this year. It could be anything you want. So just relax into it. Tell us your name, and we'll get, if there's anyone online, we'll get to you in just a second. So if it's okay, Adam, I'm going to start with you. So let's turn this around here.
Yeah. Okay. Happy New Year, everyone. My name's Adam. I come from Australia. I've been in Kenya now for 6 weeks, but I had a couple of weeks off during Christmas, so just came back. And what's my thing? Just starting out in Nairobi. I work in HR back in Australia, so just want to keep my skills fresh and meet new people.
Nice. Welcome. Adam, I have a portal of resources of things to do and see and play and all of that in Nairobi and Kenya, so if you're interested in getting that link, let me know. I'll be happy to share it
I'll be
with
looking
you.
at that. Thank you.
Great. Welcome. Kristen.
My name's Kirsten. I've been around in Nairobi for a bit longer. I think it's going to be 9 years soon.
Wow.
I would never have thought time passes so quickly, but the reason I'm here for is, I guess, never-ending curiosity. So I've come in here after having participated in another meeting run by Leanne, which I was very enthusiastic about. It was on ICTs. It was at the end of last year. And I promised I would come to one of these, and this is now the point when I make it.
Okay.
The topic sounded very relevant to me and to an increased and continuous learning curve on my side. So I work as a consultant on the environmental side of things, amongst others. I'm fascinated by everything oceans and coasts, and that's the bit of me.
Great. Welcome. Okay, so we're just doing quick introductions, your name, and what's something that you're interested in these days? What's your calling?
Okay. So my name is Reconvene. I'm here from Metis. Metis is an organization that started just last year in April. It seeks to support African leaders to get a seat on the table. When our founder was here doing her research under the Fulbright Scholarship and doing research on the education sector, when she attended various education conferences, she found that there were no Africans speaking for themselves and participating in policy making for themselves. And so what we seek to do is we seek to empower young Africans and old alike to have that confidence to speak for themselves and get a seat at the table. So we do this through a fellowship program that runs for 6 months, where right now we're supporting 15 African leaders doing different things in the education space to just be out there, share their work, and support each other through community of practice. I have a very keen interest in education. For me, I believe education is what opened a lot of the doors that I have. It was never money. It was the sacrifices that my dad made to get me in school. And so I want to be a champion for those coming after me to access that same education, and this time in a better point. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here. This is the first one I've been to, but my co-workers Rebecca and Kathleen Matino have been here before, and they spoke highly about it.
You're so welcome. As a Canadian, I saw the name of your organization, and in Canada, we would say that word métis, which means someone who is of mixed, usually it means someone of mixed French and First Nations ancestry. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. So anyways,
Yeah,
it's a little cultural
definitely.
thing.
Yeah, so we speak a lot and we focus a lot on diversity. So we have a very diverse cohort of people, but metis in Greek also means local knowledge. And that is what we want to focus on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so cool.
Hi, I'm Jill, and I work with a skills training program here in Nairobi called America School. And so right now it's focused on technical skills. So when our founder opened it up, she was working with a lot of companies here and noticed that there's a lot of people looking for jobs without necessarily the technical skill set to be able to get those jobs. But at the same time, a lot of jobs who are looking for people with those skills. So yeah, we kind of work to fill that gap. And I've been in Nairobi for about a year now, and I'm just really interested in alternative education. I've been in alternative education for a while now, and building educational experiences that are fun and engaging. That's kind of what I'm doing here. So I'm just excited to see the other people in this kind of space.
Welcome. I found out about the Moringa School through the EdTech meetup. So if you're interested in educational technology, you guys had a EdTech meetup at your organization for one meeting. Yeah, so cool the stuff you guys do. So welcome. We'll let you get settled. We're just doing intros. We'll come back to you. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Julie. I'm a couple and relationship psychotherapist. So I work independently. I work with individuals who contact me either on a referral basis or I approach them through whichever institute, whether it's a school or employment, and we work for either open-ended period of time on whichever issue they may be experiencing. Outside of that, I also work in another organisation, Carrying Surgery, also doing similar work. Lots of writing, articles, journals, magazines in Nairobi. I've been here for about a year and a half, so it's been a very sort of field-packed experience. And I'm feeling slightly jet lagged. I came back from Canada last week. So
where in Canada were you?
Vancouver.
Oh, my home.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, a little teary moment there. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. But the time difference is just pretty
Oh, it's we're 11 hours.
11 hours?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. Welcome. Nicodemus.
Morning, everyone. I'm Nicodemus. I'm a mentor, the founder of Independent of the Disabled Persons of Kenya. I stand for equality, and we normally mentor our people in our community who lives with disability. Yes, and also we support them in terms of education. We empower them so that we think they are not negated in our community.
Great. Welcome. Nicodemus, I think, is one of the longest serving members around the table here. I think you were there from the very, very beginning. We celebrated our 5th anniversary in November, so he's a sage. He's a wise one. So welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Miriam. I'm actually really happy to hear about this because I think I attended, I don't know if it was a launch or something at your offices last year.
EdConnect.
Yes. And then I'm also seeing someone from EdTech, and I realized that I meet a lot of you in other learning forums, and I think it's because we share a love for learning, which is really great. I run a mentorship program for teens called My Circle Africa, which is actually going to be launching this year. And I'm more into holistic learning. So I love that education. I think resiliency building, especially in adolescence, is something that is of prime importance today, especially in the tech age. So that's something that I'm really, really looking forward to. And I hope that we can be using and working together as well. So yeah,
look at the connections. Yes, my heart is happy. I can get over the bureaucracy issues with the UN when this kind of stuff happens. Great. Okay, Hannah, if you want to say a couple words about, just introduce yourself, if you're here. So Hannah, as you know, was battling the bureaucracy to get you guys in here. Yeah.
Not battling, really, just waiting. I'm Hannah Fink-Vernon, and what am I doing? I'm doing two main things. I'm the founder of Here We Are Kenya, which is part of a bigger network, which is Here We Are Global, which is a network for training partners or international professionals. Really started off with people like myself who move along with their partner to a different country, and then what do you do with yourself in terms of keeping professional if it's difficult to get a job, which it is in this country and in many other countries across the world. So just inspiration and professional sort of thinking and learning, of course. So that's one thing, and the other thing is that I'm setting up my own Wonder Walk business, which is group reflections, group coaching, group creating chains in ourselves, or in groups, or in organizations. It's getting there.
Great. Welcome, Hannah, and thank you so much for your help this morning. Okay, and do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Esther. I'm program manager at AMI, the African Management Initiative. We do management training, blended learning both in person and online. And I'm also the co-founder of EdTech Studio, which is a member of EdTech Nairobi. Actually, that's where we met with Miriam and Gillian also. So we run the studios every 6 weeks, and we bring together learning designers that they ask questions like challenges or a new thing that they discover or something we've done really well. So that's what I'm doing. I really enjoy talking to the learning space.
Great. Welcome. Okay, Adam, if you can just make sure that's pointing my way. And my name's Leanne. I'm the founder and facilitator of the RoundTable. And one thing that's keeping me, I have so many things that I'm interested in, but one thing that I'm super interested in is translating what I know about doing education face-to-face to online and making it really interesting and engaging and fun. And I'm writing a ton of curriculum right now, and half of it's online, and one of the tools that I'm using is a crossword puzzle. So people, in order to do their learning check, they fill in this either, and it's their choice, online, or they can print off a PDF, a crossword puzzle. So things like that, looking for simple, cool, interesting tools to add to the online learning. And I know we've got Bruzanne online from Manchester, all the way from Manchester, so cool. So I'll watch their, I can see the people online who are commenting, so I'll let you know what they say. And Leanne, another Leanne, Rowell, I hope I'm saying that right, Leanne, is also online with us. So if they want to add any words, I'll let you know. You can also see it on the screen too. So, okay, so just really quickly some housekeeping. I'm looking at making how to make the videos easier to find and label. For the Facebook Lives. We've got a few of them now, and I found a method. I just have to get my VA, my virtual assistant, to figure that out and get it online, because right now they're a little hard to find and figure out. Also, you might notice, if you've heard me speak, I'm such an advocate for making sure that work is credited. So you may or may not have noticed that it might appear that the photo on the agenda is not credited, but I found this really cool tool called unsplash.com. Do you know it, Hannah?
Oh, so I mentioned it.
Oh, did you tell me? Oh, okay. Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Okay. So it's very small in this photo, but down in the corner, and maybe Adam, you can make sure that, maybe actually I'll have people look at the agenda here for people online. These are really high quality photos, so they often coming at like 6 megabytes. If you really need good quality, and then you can save them down if you need smaller. But it is, all the stuff is in the corner there for the attribution. You might remember that when we started doing Facebook Live, I thought it would be interesting just to reach out to other L&D groups around the world. So the Philippine Society for Training and Development popped, as Facebook logarithms do, popped up on my screen. So I reached out to them. So we're having a little bit of a conversation. So they might join in. Who knows? We might have people joining online for the Philippines. If you happen to know of L&D groups in other parts of Kenya or other countries, please shoot them my way. I'd be happy to send them an invite and see if they want to join. Be more than happy to do that. We're trying to have people on the compound, but no later than 9:30, just because who's ever handing out the badges, they're missing part of the meeting. So try to do that. And I know it's a gong show there, but anyways, if you're able to, please donate a minimum of 300 shillings. The badges that you're wearing, that's what they cost. And once you RSVP, I have to pay for these badges whether you show up or not. And if you're able to, the suggested donation is 1,000 shillings. If it's easy for you to M-Pesa, feel free to M-Pesa. Lots of people do that. And if you want to put some cash in the envelope, which will be passed around, feel free to do that. Whatever works for you. And I don't want it to affect your ability to access the group. So if 300 shillings is too much, don't worry about it. We don't keep track of who donates what. And on the other side of that continuum, if you're able to donate more than 1,000 shillings, please feel free. I will happily accept your money. And you might be saying, well, why are you suggesting 1,000 shillings if the badges only cost 300? That's because once a year we take all of the money that didn't go towards paying the badges and we donate that to an organization. So Brizan, who's online, his organization got that money, and Brizan, I know I have an email, I have to get in touch with you about actually transferring the money, but something like 30,000 shillings is getting donated to work up in Turkana, which if you're new to Kenya is way isolated, way northwest Kenya, and focusing on educating, what's the word? Kids that move around. Nomadic children. Yeah. If you're interested in my Life Lenses assessment, it's online for you to fill out, no charge. Note that there's no results. This is for research purposes only, but it is there if you'd like. I am redoing my website, and painfully, it's taking a long time. But there will be a much easier way to get your name onto the Learning and Development Roundtable list, so stay tuned for that. Learning Resource Library. It's turning into a little bit of a challenge, having to chase people down, and we lost ironically, our most valuable resource. It's like worth $100, and we haven't seen the unlearned cards in a very long time, and they're one of the most popular ones. So if you see your name on the list, please, and Julie, thank you for returning the Desire map book. That's great, that's back. I brought some new resources, so feel free to take a look at those. If you want to borrow anything, the idea is that you bring it back the next month. Okay, so some people have had resources for a really long time. I don't really want to patrol this. It's not a good use of my time. I don't want to have to chase people. If you have ideas of how to make this easier, or I'm just finding I'm spending too much time kind of managing this process. So please let me know if you have ideas for an easier process. Happy to hear that. Any other questions about process? Do you have any questions about how we run, what we do, what we're up to? Just while you're thinking about that, I'm going to switch back to the sign here. which is odd because I can see Brizan's intro on my phone but not on my screen. I guess it's just catching up. So Brizan says, hello, I'm Brizan from Lodwar, I hope I'm saying that right, and a founder and director of 2 organizations, Startup Lions, and then it cuts out. So once this catches up, Brizan, on my Facebook screen, or my computer screen, I can complete that introduction. And also we have a couple of other people online too, so feel free to introduce yourself. I think Elizabeth, are you there? Are you one of those 4 folk? She's like the thing. So she's an amazing, she's trained as a lawyer, a human rights activist, really interesting, lovely woman. So we'll wait for that introduction if she'd like to do that. No pressure. Any other questions before we dive in to the icebreaker?
Maybe I forgot to say, apologies from Jen. She's like not feeling well, she's really sick.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Right.
Oh, yeah. She messaged. Yeah, she's messaged and she's pasted already, and yeah. Thank you for passing that on. Yeah, I was so excited when I saw her name. I was really looking forward to seeing her. Yeah, I'm sorry she's unwell. Okay. Oh, there's Elizabeth. Okay, so I don't know why it's showing up on my phone and not my computer screen. So she says, hi everyone, my name is, I said Elizabeth, sorry, Erica. I don't know why I did that, Erica, sorry. Erica Zachary, and I'm a professor of public policy and administration in China. She's in China right now, so that's so cool. Okay, and yeah, Leanne's saying it looks like my Facebook comments aren't being updated on my computer. So I'm not sure how to get that happening, but I don't want to. Maybe this will do it. There we go. Okay. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. So Leanne Rawls says she's been in Nairobi for 2.5 years now, working with a Dutch company called A New Spring to launch their e-learning platform in East Africa. She's an accountancy professional and lecturer by trade. And Brizan, he's following from Manchester and loving the introductions. He wants to attend the next one. Oh, he's coming back to Kenya. Okay, and he says hi to everyone. That's great. And he is the founder and director of 2 organizations, Startup Lions, an ICT company offering opportunities to young nomadic youth with ICT entrepreneurial skills, and also Lion Strength, a relief organization supporting young girls and boys in Turkana. And Erica, I started reading that. She's a professor of public policy and administration in China, a mediator, and an organizational consultant. She's splitting her time between Asia and East Africa. She's coming to Kenya again. Excited about that. And she's currently researching educational frameworks for emerging Sino-African public sector professionals, which is wonderful. And Erica, if you're listening, if you know about the China-Africa Research Network, I can connect you up with those folks if you are interested. Okay, so I would like to hear the pleasure of the group. It's 10 to 11, and the path is somewhat diverging with 2 choices. I had an idea to do a quick icebreaker to ease you into talking about community, where you talk about what is community for you, what it's not, what's a positive experience you've had with community, and a negative experience, and then we would jump into the community canvas. We can continue to do that, and for folks online, please let me know what your preference is as well. Or we can start right away with the community canvas. What would you like to do?
I'm going to leave you go into the canvas.
Into the canvas?
Just time constraints.
Yeah. Does that work for folks? Okay, great. So, the community canvas is a pretty cool tool, and I can't, Hannah, you didn't tell me about this one, did you? No. I don't know where I found out about it. So I printed off one copy here. So this is a networking session, which means that, Erica, I see your comment about connecting you up with the China-Africa Research Network. Can you just message or email me so that I remember, because both my computer and my phone are taken, and if I don't write something down, it means it doesn't exist in my brain. So feel free to message me, please, or email me. So we alternate guest speakers with networking sessions, and this is a networking session, because folks said, hey, we're really cool, interesting, intriguing people, and we want to get to know each other a little bit more. So with the networking session, I'll speak for just a couple of minutes. I'll just briefly introduce this tool, and then you folks can work in small groups to get to know more about it, and then we'll come together as a large group at the end. Okay? So has anyone worked with this tool at all? Okay. Okay, so the Community Canvas, it's important to know this is a Creative Commons licensed tool, which means that it's free to use. Okay, they've licensed it in a way that they're more than happy for people to share it. So what is it? It is a framework that will help you build and run a new community or analyze and improve a new community. This link to this document is in the agenda. Okay, so you can easily access this as you wish. And it identifies some themes, some really important themes, and helps you to ask the right questions. And community means something different to everyone. We've developed this tool in the hope of supporting anyone who runs an organization that brings people together and makes them feel like they belong. No matter if it's an alumni organization, a sports club, an HR department. And I would also add, because I have my own company, but it's very, very tiny. So if you don't run an organization, apply it to any, I think this is applicable to any community work that you're doing. Before I describe the sections, what I'd love you to do is really take charge and be self-directed in your own learning. So take a moment, if you're here in the room, personally, to turn to the person beside you, and maybe you three can work, a group of three. And for the folks online, feel free to leave a comment. Why are you here? What about this tool attracted you? How do you want to use it in your own work? And in terms of educational language, I encourage you to think about praxis, which, if you're not familiar with that term, is simply cycling back and forth between action and reflection. So for the reflection part, I would encourage you to chat with your partner briefly about what is it that you want to learn about this community canvas. And then for the action piece, what is it that you want to do with that information? Okay, so what do you want to know and what do you want to do? So take a quick minute and just have a chat. For folks online, feel free to let us know. Okay, folks, if you can bring your attention back to the large group, and you're going to get lots more time to work in a small group. But for the moment, are you wanting to know more about the community canvas, and how do you see yourself applying that information? Anyone?
No, I mean basically, I was just saying I've skimmed through it yesterday, and it just sounds amazing in the sense that you get to discuss your community. I'm thinking of Here We Are, because that's one of the communities I have a say about. I was also thinking of Learning Development RoundTable. It could be interesting to just sit together and discuss this community in terms of what do people. I mean, does the purpose differ, and how do we identify this, and So, but I don't know. I'm just eager to know more of the details and dig into it. But I'm sure from the skimming through it that there's a lot to be learned about what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Okay, great. Anyone from this side?
So for me, the question of why am I here is the EdTech Studio has been around for now a year plus, and we still have all these questions of where are we going, what we want to do. And when we listed those questions down, and then we got the email from Jan about the truth, and the answer the question. So we have a worksheet in there, like 17 questions or 17 things to have to answer. And I feel if I'm able to answer those 17 questions, then every problem or doubt we had about the worksheet will be answered.
Nice.
So that's what I want to do.
Nice. Okay. Great. Anyone else?
Yeah, it's always interesting to have kind of structure around what you're doing, and like these tools, and finding out about a new tool that's already been developed and addressing the same problems that I want to address is really useful.
Great. Rizan said that it's really relevant to his work, and he's very keen to learn more. And also just a shout out to Marianne, who's online right now. Welcome, Marianne. We're so happy that you're here. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so with your permission, I'll just tell you a little bit more about the tool, and then we can decide how. I've got a couple of different ideas for how to divide you into small groups. So one of the things I like about the tool is that it's not rocket science. It's just an easy framework to wrap your head around. So there are 3 sections to the community canvas. One is identity, one is experience. So the middle circle there, the blue circle, is all about identity, and then the pink or reddish bits are all about experiences in the community, and then the green parts are about the structure of the community. Right? And then within those sections, those are divided up into different themes. And there's a much longer workbook that kind of walks you through those themes and gives you more information. So what I'm curious to know is whether you would like, I saw 2 different ways to spend time in small groups, and you could easily have more ideas, so let me know if you do. One idea is that you divide up by section. So you take a deep dive and talk about the themes of one section. So for example, this group here could be the identity section. So you get to know a lot more about that one particular section. And you would be another section, something like that. So that's a deep dive into one particular area. Or you might prefer to talk about all of those sections as they apply to your community. So we may have an ed tech group that people talk about how those sections apply to that particular community. So what's your pleasure? What would you like to do? Second?
I mean, but this is just from my part. I haven't gathered all the information around this tool yet.
Yeah.
And I would just love to use it for getting preliminary answers on questions such as how is my community, how is this, basically if I could go out here and know like, is this actually the kind of ammunition that I need for my community, or perhaps it isn't, like what's the most efficient for me to get to my goal?
Sure, okay.
And for that I think diving into one, that would almost kind of have me have thought more deeply about it to go even deeper.
Sure.
So I'd be for number 2, and I'd even, just to make it up as a suggestion, I would be interested to see, also to look into the professional/personal community, because so often there's a mix of this.
Yeah, good point.
And how to craft that community of people around me as a professional/private person into, would that fit with themes, and could I combine that given the time constraints of places nowadays?
Okay. Any thoughts from anyone else? Are you happy with either way, or you're just not, you're just like, oh, you interrupted me daydreaming about my really hot date I have tonight, or okay. Going dancing tomorrow night. Okay, so I'm going to put a proposal out then that we pick 3 or 4 communities. And this is just a proposal, so we can change it. One being Here We Are, which is the organization that Hannah co-founded. One being the Learning and Development RoundTable, and one being EdTech. And we could pick another. Maybe Nicodemus, you want to use your organization as an example, and then people gather to the organization that they feel like they want to talk about, and then we just cycle through the different themes and have a conversation about those, knowing that there's a lot more information online. This is just a start to that. What do you think? Are you okay with using the EdTech as a... Yeah? Okay. Hannah, are you... Does that work for you? Okay. Nicodemus, do you want to use your organization as a one to talk about? Yeah? Okay. Okay, great. So this will be a bit of a litmus test. Just go to the person whose community you want to talk about, knowing that it's also going to apply to your community as well, right? And if no one comes to the learning and development community, it's not a problem. I'll just join another one, you know. So, or if someone doesn't come to one of the other ones, okay? And the people online, let's just say that they're stuck with me. So guys online, we'll talk about or you can let me know in the comments if you want to put your organization forward as a sample, and we can talk about that. So assume that learning and development is here, sharing with online. So move to the community that you want to talk about, and then we'll see if we need to shuffle things up accordingly. Okay. Are you serious, really? Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, so for the folks online, no one's moving. Okay, so, so for the folks online, let me know, is there a community that you want to talk about? I can also move the camera about the room and let you listen into what other people are saying, but just leave some comments for the folks online and let me know if you want to go through each of the sections. The sections being, I'll show them to you again here. So this is, the blue ones are identity, Okay, which has to do with purpose and values and brand and the definition of success. And the pinkish ones are all to do with experience. So how does someone get selected in the community? What are the rituals, the rules, the shared experiences, the content, the roles, and the transition? And then the green is structure, which is all about organization, governance, financing, channels and platforms, and data management. So think about that for a minute if you have a comment about that, and I'll be right back. I'm just going to give someone a booklet here.
Is that enough for you to look at and read it, or do you want me to? So no one I didn't ask. Does anyone have a laptop with them, or can you get online? Do you want to? Can you bring up the agenda? Because then you can check the access this. Yeah, there's free Wi-Fi. Do you guys want to borrow this one? Yes. That's how I see it. No, it makes it that way. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the top part. I was thinking the game is all to do with composition, people, the rituals, the rules, and yes, last step down to
we still doing what we want us to do, or are we doing something else, or we would want to do?
Okay, I'm back for the folks online. Let me know if you have questions or if you want to hear what other people are talking about, and I'll just write that in the comments section too.
How does that fit in? So, then again, I haven't done how we propose how we start those the ones let's start with the ones. Yeah, so the ones are the identity.
sort of give it scope, I reckon we do it as here we are.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Can I just jump in? Sorry to interrupt. The folks online want to listen to you.
Oh,
so if you're okay, if you can just be mindful to speak loud enough that they can hear you, and just know that they're listening. So.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, hi. Why does the community exist? I mean, it exists, guessing that I have to start the answering. Here we are, exist in Kenya. Yeah, I mean, because in the same way as it exists, or for the same reason as it exists globally, that there was a need for a place, or we felt there was a need for a place to meet and develop professionally, or grow professionally and personally, but with an outset in the professional thinking and the sort of professional. We have a different word in Danish that I can't translate. It doesn't translate directly, but so have that growth and specifically aiming at accompanying partners, realizing that you, especially here, but in many other countries, including my own country also, it's very, very difficult to get that work permit and get going, or there might be circumstances around you staying here with family, or flexibility that's needed in different ways to what is possible if you get a full-time job. So there might be various reasons why people are in that position. But having a space to meet, to discuss and grow and inspire and be inspired and connect, and maybe with the aim to get a job, maybe with the aim to just grow some competencies that you hadn't looked at before, or that you wanted to further. So that's a long answer to a small box.
Well, actually, I feel like that even, because that's like the identity sort of organically explained. And I think we can unpack some of that stuff. I mean, in terms of some of the things you were talking about with values there, professionalism, professional growth, something like that through on that one.
Yeah. Definitely.
And
Connection. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think the other part, which is kind of self-fulfilling in this, is also community.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
It builds a...
So to folks online, the Community Canvas has a bunch of other tools available online, and one of them is the Minimal Viable Community. So definitely check out that link, which is in the agenda, and I'll put that in a comment as well. And in the Minimal Viable Community, you can talk about the purpose, why does the community exist? You can talk about the values, what are 3 principles that are important to the community. That's really hard to read. You can talk about the experience of the community. You can talk about the audiences, who is the community for, what's the selection process, the goals in the next 12 months and the metrics. You can, again, it's hard to read. You can talk about the roles of community members and the rules for the community, and then the governance and communication. So again, this tool is available for free online. I'll put the link in a couple of minutes in the comment section. And I'll just give this back to them because they're working on it. Hi, Erica. So I'm in an interesting community situation currently. I'd like to know how can I use or adapt the model. Oh, cool. Okay. Have you downloaded it, Erica? Have you seen it? Because that might be something to do first off. And also let me know, do you want to kind of walk through it? Do you want to talk about it here? We can walk through the model with you if you like.
It's definitely a value.
Hi, Melanie. Welcome. I can see that you're online there. Welcome. We're so happy you're here. Hi, Brizanne. Okay, I will share the link right now. I'm just going to bring the camera back to my computer. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it as stable as possible. Okay, so you can see my screen here. I believe it's just communitycanvas.org. So here is that in the link.
won't be surprised by the fact that
And when you go to that link, I'll just show you some of the other tools that you can see. This is really helpful, and again, it's all Creative Commons licensed, so it's fine for you to use this. So again, I'm at the Community Canvas, community-canvas.org link, and if you, this is the part that explains the different sections and themes. And then if you scroll to the bottom, this summary here is what I've printed out, is the link in the agenda. So I'll put that link as well in the Facebook. Oops. Okay, and then the guidebook, this one goes into all of the 17 themes. So Erica, this would probably be a good thing for you to download. This one's a lot bigger, so it's 61 pages. It's not giving me a URL for it, but the link is just right there. And then the final one is a minimal viable community. So that's the document that I just walked you through, and they've got that in a Google Doc, so I'll share that link with you. Oops. So, Erica, I'd love to know, do you have particular questions about the themes? So if we go back here, this is the summary. Let us know if you want us to help you walk through this. So again, the three themes, or the three sections rather, are identity and purpose, values, brand, success definition. That's the first section. The second one is experience, which is all about selection, rituals, shared experiences, content, transition, roles, and rules. And then the third section is structure. So how is your community organized? What is the governance of the community, the financing, the channels and platforms, and the data management. Erica, it'd be interesting to know, if you work through this, are there any, because of course there would be, what are the cultural influences, and how does that affect the framework? What would you need to take into consideration using that in Kenya, using it in a community in China, etc. Let me know, Erica, if you have questions there, and then otherwise what I can do is bring the camera around to the other two groups if people want to hear what they're saying. Because I know that was, so I think, oh, Melanie, I missed your introduction there. Okay. Marianne wanted to listen to the other groups before we were chatting about anything there. Welcome, Melanie. Life coach, nutritionist, certificate, nutrition psychology. My goodness. Okay, so how can I use this canvas for my work? Working with groups of obese people, mothers of anorexic kids, etc. Wow, that's a great thing to think about. Melanie or Erica, let me know. And sorry, I'm conscious that just outside the door here, someone is banging on something. This is not a very quiet setting. Let me know if you want if you want to make some comments, and we can walk you through the document with those themes based on the work that you're doing, which sounds really interesting, and very interesting different audiences there. Oh, thanks, Erica, for sharing that as well. Great. So So I'll just wait for a couple of seconds here to see Erica or Rizan or Melanie if you want to talk about your community, and if I don't hear anything, then I will walk over to one of the other two groups that are talking. So I'll just watch for comments for a second here.
We do have stories with connections with nice to tell that this person met that person and that ends up in a small assignment, or it ends up in them creating places together, or the small things like that. But and of course global loves to hear that because they use those stories in better. Here it's more like you meet someone else.
Okay, I'm going to walk over to one of the other groups so you can listen into what they're saying. Let me know for the folks online if you want to hear about Home is Where We Live, which is Hannah's group here, or if you want to hear about the EdTech Studio, or if you want to hear about Nicodemus's group, which works in the informal settlements here in the slums with people who have disabilities. Any preference? Just shoot me a quick comment which group you want to listen to. Again, the choices are Home is Where We Live, which is a group for, I hate this term, but trailing spouses. So how to keep active and involved in a country that is not your passport country. The EdTech group who does lots of meetups and looks at the role that tech plays in education through lots of interesting initiatives they have, including a meetup. And this one is the disabled focus one. Oh, Marianne says this. Okay, so let's go back here.
But you were asking whether we had goals as such, because we didn't, and maybe we ought to have. I don't know, but we don't sit down and think. We haven't sat down at any point thinking, okay, we would like to at the end of this year to have had 3 people meeting each other, or 3 connections made that led to something, or what's the
but it doesn't need to be a quantitative goal.
No.
I mean, you can set your goals qualitatively or and one I can imagine, because you mentioned we are volunteering here in the first place. I think the danger of having this quantitative goal is that it lends itself to establishing pressure. We don't want to pressurize ourselves doing this voluntarily to have like 10 people at the end of the year enter the workforce, which is basically completely out of our power, because it's you can't make it the proper results framework, so to say. But you could still formulate a goal that would say, look, we have this community goal, which means we enlarge our community, and there you can think about numbers. You know, think about, last year we've actually grown by that much as a community. That's actually numbers. That's pretty quantitative. However, you could still say, in terms of the success that we're aiming at, the success for one would be community, and the other one would be on the qualitative side. Would be like, we actually help people to get connected in that way, and so many people have, or that one person managed to meet someone through here to get a first job connection here or a work permit. I mean, it's big stuff. Coming to your meetings and then knowing how to go about the work permits, and I'm sure people go for that route, or at least save a lot of energy deciding, okay, this is not for me. I go on the voluntary path, I go into projects, I go to orphanages, whatever. All that's kind of goal related.
That's true.
Question is just like, what's the problem with these things? I find is then you need to kind of set your priorities. What do you want to know? What's our main goal? You know, what's our main, related to the purpose and everything. What do we want to go for? And how does it connect to the global? Because you also have to think about this global connection. Don't want to complicate things, but I find the goal is that's a very important thing to formulate as clearly as possible.
And I think then in terms of, because I reckon that's those discussions there between the values, the goals, and the audience.
Yeah.
Like from that first organic discussion that you said there, this is compartmentalised it really nicely in the spots. And I was just looking then in terms of purpose, and if you strip all those other things out, the purpose, what's the need? What's the need? So, the original purpose, because he said it is a very open audience, is for trailing spouses to grow. We also use these kind of things for elevator pitches.
Sorry?
Elevator pitches.
So, pitches.
So, like if you are going for a job, all right, we're traveling 3 floors. Tell me your purpose. Then I'm not going to forget.
Sorry, I'm just writing. Enable. This is not the right wording. But you're right that definitely in the elevator speech for this, although I find the elevator or the pitch for this is always a bit, it depends a lot of who I'm standing in front of, because if I stand with a trading partner, then it's easy. So come get inspired, get to meet other people, but if you stand in front of an organization that might be, because the global is going to be funded by organizational members who then include it in their contracts, so the HR units who are included in the contract when they employ international employees, so that their partners will be able to join ABR and get special pit stops with special coaching and facilitation and meetings before, during, and after that placement. That's the plan on the global. That's what they're working on globally and getting investment now for. So there's also on the local level, it's personal, professional, personal growth, connection, and inspiration. But on the global level, it's also that, but it's also putting that into a package that you can sell, because you need to get the business out of it also in order to get the whole thing running, keep it running.
And that was part of the things with regards to those like hygienic goals there, which are 30 people on average, I would say. If you kept getting the same numbers at that visa tour, then part of this, I imagine, would be, okay, that goal is not only met, it's exceeded, and a consequence of that is to get a big room.
Exactly. And we know,
which I think goes into the experience parts.
Is that this one? Let's see, I have them up here.
You know what this reminds me of? When I was instructors, but the direction I come from is more like project planning and these kinds of things and evaluation. And there, the way you look at when you want to craft these things is you have these feedback loops, and you actually have to, or the way that it's advised to do this is to create a hierarchy. And when you start off, you have your purpose, and you need to make sure all of your goals and objectives fit under that. And you can feed it back, and you check, okay, is that still the purpose? And that helps you to redefine and reformulate perhaps 3, 4, 5 times your purpose, so that in the end you're so happy with it that it comes automatically as your elevator pitch. Because you thought of it like 15 times, and then you have the formulation that you're happy with, and it's stuck in your brain, and then you go out and sell it. And the same is with, we have the goals, the audience comes in, the values, what Adam just said, basically the indicators, they help you check again if that's actually exactly what you wanted, and if it still fits into the bigger framework. And you could do the same with the local and the global. Once you have your local, you calibrate it in a way against the global, here we are. And it of course doesn't need to be the same thing. You don't need to be like a small subset of the big guys, but you just check back check for compatibility with them, and then you're probably there with a relatively solid organizational setup.
Yeah.
At least on paper. And then you go back to project, in my terms, reality, and then it looks all different again.
But at least I guess that's exactly what comes here, right? Because with the next one, what happens in our community on a recurring basis that helps us achieve our goals and expresses our values in action. So that's, that's feeding, that's loop back, right? So you check into what do we do.
And then you're also automatically on the trail of how well are we doing. So every year you can get back to the question and check how is the month, and then you have your kind of evaluation tool if you want.
Yeah. And this is exactly of themselves, but I think, what do? We have those monthly meetings with a follow-up and an invitation and a follow-up with, those mails, I think, is also a big part of what we do. And then, of course, we have the Facebook page that we haven't, that could be a lot more used if anyone found the time to do so. That could be more organized and aligned, because we have a lot of material from the global side that we could copy in, but we need to copy it in so that it makes sense. It has to be framed.
You know what, even what you were saying there with that example, I think, sort of stepping back and now going through with this on the environment side experiences, is that maybe we've answered some of these already here in the goals, a little too specific.
Yeah.
So if I were to change the language that we're using here, so the 9 monthly meetings would be in here, and here would be
creating a
frequent meetings, so that things that were, and then here in terms of attendance with 30 meetings, with 30, the 30 is in here, and there would be with a what do they call it when you get a quantity of mass, where basically enough people so that it's interesting. So there was the same 3 people each time. They're like, I've been here 3 times. I've seen each one individually. Thank you very much.
I agree. I think what you want to end up with is that you modify here, you modify at the numbers, you modify at. Keep saying indicators. Sorry, my brain's kind of stuck on this one. But you don't want to modify. Thinking of your network as an organization, you don't want to modify the goals. They have to be large, and you certainly don't want to modify the purpose.
No,
because that's then renaming your whole organization.
And I'm actually thinking that, these are now numbered, so you do the identity first. But considering that we already exist, I'm wondering whether you would start, the question numbers, right? Whether you would actually start here when you have a community that's already existing. And then go back, you can
even
go either way.
Do
it many times. Go over it because it'll be fine-tuned whenever you start filling in a new box.
I think that whole is part of that loop thing. Already just from I think it's important to start in each of the sections. So complete blue and then move to another. Like we just did, we went, we're identifying
then it
something
means
else.
Something.
Yeah, and also by going through this, and that's also in terms of getting that shared agreement and understanding about, well, I still think these are important points, but they're in the wrong place.
Yeah, exactly.
And then once you get through and you put everything on paper, we go back through it again and we just feel more comfortable, or we do those tweaks. And so
it's probably a matter of person.
And
where you start with and what type you are. I'm sure there are visionary people who go I want this to look, and then we build it all from scratch. Here's Lego, there you go. One of my kids is like that. The other one's like, oh, that looks like, well, let me, and in the end I go what is that? And he's like, oh, that's like a fire brigade car with a blah, blah. But in the beginning, stuff it together. And I'm kind of that type. I would definitely start at the low end and see what I've already done mindlessly or intuitively or whatever you call it. So see what how you feel most comfortable.
But I'm thinking also that the other document with the many questions might also give clearer perspectives on. I mean, or it might lessen the need to loop back several times because you've already been looping around if you use all those. But
what are the other bits?
Then it's roles. What different roles can members play in our community, and what guidelines and boundaries matter most or help us achieve our purpose and represent our values. I mean, for the roles,
I believe there's the committee, the I would say active participants, and then there would be what I would call passive participants. So an active participant would be people,
and presenters, because presenters from your community, you're asking people to teach, to have some experience.
The idea has from the beginning been that the more we could grab from within, I mean, partly it's because we can't pay for it, but it's also because the whole idea was also to generate or to create a place where you could have a possibility to grow yourself. So whether that was on something that something that was your profession before, or something that you would like to enhance your skills on, whether that be treatment. And of course that hasn't worked. It hasn't been possible all the way through, because we also need to find something that's interesting to everyone. But it has been encourage that people stand or get in touch. But there's also, I mean,
Hi to the folks online. I'm just carrying the camera over to the EdTech group for the next few minutes. Just checking with them. Can I interrupt, guys? Sorry to interrupt. It's okay. The folks online want to hear what you're saying. Are you okay if they listen in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just be aware that there's lots of ambient noise and your voice is very quiet.
Okay.
So I'll see if I can.
Yeah. Okay. So I was saying at the beginning of the year we had our events from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and it was a struggle. So people come in and they RSVP, they are coming, but then they don't show up. So as you said, it is good to co-create with them, because we sent out a questionnaire and we asked them even personally, like, what time will work for you? And majority were like, what if we do it in the evening after we come from work? And so I think our last studio was from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening, and we had a huge number. We had over like 22 people. It was like, thank you, finally. So I understand what you're saying. When you co-create with them, when you ask them how can this community grow, how can you help us grow, then you get better solutions, and they feel like they are part of the community. Actually, they give me feedback, like they're saying, thank you for changing the time, we didn't think our feedback mattered or anything. So moving forward, we're going to have those sessions in the evening. I think that is a good idea. Anything else, Jill, on the brand and how we can involve the participants or the members?
Yeah, no, I really like that, like involving everyone who the community serving in the building of the brand. Because like even my organization has gone through changes in branding, and we started out by just taking any opportunity that would that seemed interesting, and then now we're able to say like, no, this doesn't really like suit our mission, and like we use those experiences to build why we exist. And so since it's such a new organization, you have the freedom to learn from a lot of different experiences.
Yeah, and they get to see you from a different space. They are like outside looking in, so they can see a few things that you are missing. So you can do that. That's nice.
And another thing, like when we first started on learning and building a brand, one of the things I was really afraid to do was like pick things from other people.
you know. But I realized that, like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are people out there who've done it, and they've done it well, and they've had success. And if you're able to ask them, like, we were surprised at how much we got, how many resources we got just by asking. You know, one of the organizations like has this whole database of resources that they run, and they were just like, yeah, sure, here's our password. Like,
go ahead and access it.
Wow. And right now we pick and learn so much from them. And so, like, two things, like, don't be afraid to ask, and don't feel like you need to reinvent the wheel. Like, there are people out there who are doing it and they're doing it well. So learn from them, shorten your learning curve. It really helps.
So that's a point, because we are really thinking who else is doing learning design, who else is doing the studio, who else is doing what we are doing, and how can we collaborate with them. So we are going to be reaching out to Metis very soon just to hear who is in your space that is doing studio, and then we can think of how to grow our identity in terms of that. Like you said, shorten our learning curve. Like we don't have to stay 2-3 years trying to form a community when you guys already have so much network, and then we can learn from it. So
and look beyond, like the guys who share their resources with us in South Africa, like, you know, it was just like through an email, we didn't even have to go there to ask them. So like if you see people online, get their contacts, reach out to them. Some of them will respond, some of them won't, but you know, the worst you can get is that one.
So maybe we can move on to the next section. Structure.
I love the rubbing of the hands together.
So in terms of structure, the EdTech is in two spaces. So we have EdTech East Africa being the big community. Then under that we have EdTech Nairobi, EdTech Kampala, and EdTech Dar es Salaam. So those are three towns or cities in East Africa. And then now the studio is under EdTech Nairobi. So EdTech Nairobi acts as the umbrella, and then us guys are like a board under that, specifically for learning designers. So that's how the community is organized. In terms of governance, again, EdTech Nairobi is the one who will do most of the governance in the community, like decision making, funding, financing. They run that. So EdTech Studio, mainly what we do in terms of governance is mainly maybe in the planning and logistics. And now what we are trying to do with the team formation, like just reaching out to guys and seeing how can we form a team to make decisions together. Yeah. So that's where we are. We are still very young. So in terms of governance, we're still trying to form a team, which is our goal for 2018. Yeah. Maybe Jill can say something about that since we've been having those discussions.
Folks, can I just draw your attention to the large group for a minute? It's 11:45, so we officially end at noon in 15 minutes, which doesn't mean that your conversations have to stop, but just officially we end in 15 minutes. So would it be all right with you in a couple of minutes if we gather again as the large group? I'd love to hear some of the things that popped for you, and would that be okay if we gather again in a couple minutes? Okay, great.
Yeah, so how to build that governance structure. But yeah, I think like you were saying, like the first year was just figuring out what you were all about, and now like it's good that we're going to figure out what that's going to look like. So the different the different tiers from the time.
Yeah, so we are still figuring out most of the pieces in the structure. Yeah, so there's nothing much to learn there. In terms of platforms, right now we're just using Facebook and WhatsApp, social media basically. So we also do partners. We have partner companies, and so they use their network to bring in participants or any ideas that they may have. So those are the two main channels that we're using. In terms of data management, how does a community manage the data of its members? That's a tough one. For now, everything is everywhere, but we are hoping to bring in some structure and hopefully have like a way of systematizing that. Like I said, the selection is open. People come in when they see the invites. So we don't have like a fixed list. These are the members. These are the like identifications. Or you know, there you have a user ID. We don't have that. So it's open.
How about with Nairobi EdTech? Like, how do they manage that? Because I know they have a database of over 2,000.
Yes.
So how do they?
So for them, it's not like we have the database, yes, with the list of members, and when you RSVP, they manage it through the meetup, so they know who showed up for this particular event. But beyond that, we don't have like a real software designed to handle data. Just use the free tools.
Is there like one spot that has all of the events and just alerts and stuff like that?
Yeah,
there's the Facebook.
Yeah, there's the Facebook, and then we have the Google Drive where we collaborate. So if you have an event, you'll share there, and so we'll share one calendar. So whatever is happening in all the EdTech pods, the calendar will be shared there. So I think that we can say in data management we use Google Drive.
And so you're able to kind of tell active members versus members who just signed up.
And then when you RSVP online, you normally come and have.
Okay, my online colleagues, I'm just going to bring you back to the front of the room because I'm going to bring everyone's attention back to the large group, and we'll see what some of the themes that people were talking about.
Together we create what very well aware that format might be the same because in this area using this tab.
I mean, this is a great thing that to tell to your potential successor. You crafted your way, but here is a very clear sheet of how we've had it, so you know where to pick it up. You don't get a chance for it. Handover as a professional.
Okay, folks, if I can have your attention. And also to the folks online, feel free to share your learnings. I'd love to spend just a couple of minutes. I mean, this is obviously something you could do a deep dive into for 2 weeks. It's a really robust tool. But for now, I'd love to hear a couple of the highlights of your small group discussion. What popped for you? What was particularly helpful or not helpful? Is there something you'd need to change? What did you learn?
What I found interesting is that the way it was broken down. So yes, you look at identity, but then you break it down into purpose, values, brands, and just being able to find a point under each heading, and that was useful. And even though, because we were looking at focusing on one organisation, but then we were able to think of our own organisations and think how certain points would be relevant and what we then need. What is our structure? How does our community manage? And even I'm an independent worker, but still there were some things that were so relevant to me when I'm working independently.
Yeah, it strikes me that maybe an unintended consequence of this work is that, I mean, I really noticed, I didn't get a chance to sit in on your group, but for these two groups, it just provokes a lot of questions that people were answering, well, this is how we do it, and I hadn't thought of this, or maybe think of this area. It kind of shines a light on some areas that you may not have thought about. And given the time of year, it could be an annual planning tool. You could, especially for that one page, I'll just show the folks again online. I gave you a link to this online, this PDF, the Minimal Viable Community. It's a one-page snapshot. You could do this with your team once a year, or with yourself, once a year, and just see where you've come from and where you're going. What about you folks?
I think for me, it has brought up questions of things we can either head on or especially the issue of data management. So they've asked me how we do that. And we just kind of have a list of stuff on Google Drive, and that's it. We go and search for something we need. We have never really had a sit down and then systematize this, let's get this.
So I was listening to that conversation, and what that made me think of, and someone let me know if it's there or not, but I didn't immediately see, because when I think of data management, it's not so much for me about how you manage the data, It's how do we create a culture of learning so that when Nicodemus is doing this workshop, he doesn't have to spend an hour trying to find the resources that Hannah created because she did the workshop 6 months ago. That he doesn't give up because he just knows it would be easier to start from scratch because it would just take too long. So it's not, for me, it's not necessarily about, the purpose isn't to manage the data. That sounds, is to flip that, right? Is what data should we be collecting and how do we organize the data so that the people who need access to it can get access to it and learn. I'm actually doing that with a client right now. We're looking at tying together, we're getting some baseline information on their learning culture. So what is their learning culture? And then we're tying that into their overall strategy. And then we're hooking in ICTs. So how can technology, what is the role that strategy and ICTs play to really ramp up our learning culture? Yeah. And really customize it, right? Like, let's not have a Facebook page because everyone else has one. If we decide that we're going to have one, it's because we're being very strategic about it, and we know that that's what we want to be doing. Okay, you folks.
We talked a lot about how we're really using that little minimum viable community canvas, and it's interesting to get other people's perspectives, and here we are, and then how, and then talking a lot about how the looping back and how every new box makes you look at the other boxes again.
Right.
So that the reflections doesn't stop with one box being finished, but you go back and forth several times until you feel that everything is.
So that's great to hear, right? Because it shouldn't be all these disparate pieces, right? They should all really be connected. Right? Yeah.
And then I'm sure that with the paper you mentioned, there's another paper that you can get to on the webpage. I didn't have that with several more questions that can help you. So even if you don't have great people around you to help questioning on your thing, or if you're too aligned in your
right.
I mean, I could have a feeling that with the two I'm working with on Here We Are, that we would be very aligned and very quickly agree with ourselves. Where it would be nice to be disrupted a little bit by the questions.
Yeah. I read an article on, was it Inc? About diagonal thinking, which I thought was just so interesting. This idea of you can be this really strategic, high-level person in the morning, and then this very detailed, head down person in the afternoon. And I thought that was fascinating. So maybe the lesson there is to look for diagonal people, right? Who can give you some, alignment is great, and if you're looking for innovation and creativity, to look for some disruptors, some people who know nothing about your organization,
Exactly.
And what would they say? Because you don't have to listen, you don't have to listen to them, right? But what would they say, right? What new ways of thinking would they open up? Great. Okay, in our Facebook Live, I've linked to the Minimal Viable Community. That's this one-page document. And this is all available on their website, so I put that website link. And then there's a 61-page free document that goes into this in much more depth. Do you mind just making sure, maybe you can turn this around. So those are all in the comments there. And also I linked to our Learning and Development Roundtable meeting notes. So we have 5 years now, 5 years and 1 meeting of resources. And I particularly looked into this, the November 18th meeting of 2016. We talked about communities of practice. So I linked to that in the notes there. So if you're interested in this topic more, that's another resource that you can look at. And now it's time to close. So know that we have lots of resources. They're in the agenda. There's links to the Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, the link is in the agenda. It is a private group at this point, so you have to ask to join it. And as soon as I see your request, I try to click as fast as I can. People share resources there and such, so feel free if you haven't already joined. And then there's a couple of different online portals of resources. Feel free to take a look there. And community announcements. Does anyone have any announcements, any events that are coming up, any resources you want to share?
We have the next town meeting on the 8th of February, but the topic is not yet decided.
Okay, so February 8th at 10 a.m.?
10 to 12.
10 to 12? Okay, at Tribe Hotel. So if you're interested in Here We Are, they have a Facebook group, talk to Hannah. And
we have a studio event on the 6th of Meta, 5:30 p.m. to 7:00.
okay, so an event at Meta and the top.
On the 26th of January.
26th of January. And the topic?
The topic will be the presenters are endless computers. So they're going to discuss how to take the operating system that they're using to the rural areas. Because it's an offline OS which helps people access data without much access to the internet.
Okay.
So that's what they're going to be talking about.
So Brizanne, if you're still online, that could be something that's... Do you guys do Facebook Lives of your events?
Don't it have physical time?
Okay. So if someone... So Brizanne is in the UK right now. If someone wanted to get information on the meeting but wasn't physically able to come, is there some way that they could get... Or maybe you could put a link or something in our Facebook group, or there's a way to get that? Even if it's just to the organization that's doing the topic? Okay, great. I have an announcement which kind of makes me quake a little bit, in excitement and fear. If you can just make sure that's right. So my big intention, not intention because it is going to happen, it's absolutely happening. I am expanding my business to doing online training in addition to in-person. So I'm going to be launching 4 online courses, and I'm going to teach each of them twice in the year. And the first one is planning for a fun Fab 2018. So it's a very customized, because some people look at planning and think, oh, that's just a way to make me feel guilty because I make a goal and then I don't reach it 5 minutes later and then I feel bad about myself. So it's not about that. We're going to have fun. We're going to play. So if you're interested, see me and I can send you the information. Donations. If that envelope, if you're intending to donate some cash and you haven't, it's there. If you're intending to M-Pesa me, my number's on the back of that envelope. Oh, and I forgot. How did this not get in here? And I apologize. I can't remember who from our last Facebook Live did this. Shoot, I must have not saved it properly. So there is, this just makes me, I can't even believe I'm saying this. There is an app. Has anyone heard of the Wave app? W-A-V-E? Oh, yes. It's a way to send money from North America to East Africa for free. So people online, because someone was asking about donating, if you want to donate to our group, get the Wave app, and I'm on there. I have an account, and you can send some cash. It's incredible. And there's no fees. It's totally free. They make their money, they get money from the exchange rate, but the exchange rate seems amazing. Have you used it? And any problems? Yeah, I'm just blown away. So Wave, W-A-V-E, like Wave. Lending Library, if you want to borrow something, let me know. I just keep a little list. If you have ideas for how to make this process go easier, please let me know. It's a bit of a headache. Hannah, you're returning that one, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So this one's ready to go out if you want it. And just make sure, don't walk out the door without letting me know. We did that initially, and then the landlord cards went bye-bye. And the intention should be that you bring the resource. If you're borrowing something, that you should bring it back next month. Please don't keep it for 6 months. And upcoming meetings. I'm so excited to tell you that next month, finally, this has been like at least a year in the planning, Ilya and or Anita and or another person is going to speak from the Global Trauma Center. And this is an organization that Ilya founded in Kenya. and it teaches people how to work with people who have experienced trauma. So they do work in South Sudan and India, and it's groundbreaking work, what they're doing. It's really, really incredible. So they're coming, finally. So mark your calendars for folks online, February 16th. Make sure that you stay tuned for more information about that. March 16th is another networking session. I thought we could talk about Meet the Modern Learner. If you haven't seen that infographic that's been making its way around, it's really all about some new ways that people are learning, so we could do that. And then the 20th, Fiona is going to come from the Canadian High Commission. Her job is to help Canadians who get in trouble overseas here in East Africa. So imagine a Somali Canadian kid, okay, Canadian passport and Somali, whose parents have decided that they're not absorbing enough of the Somali culture, so they take the kid to Somalia, who in some instances have been chained to a desk and beaten if they don't speak English, and otherwise abused according to Canadian laws. And it's Fiona's job to help get that kid to safety. So the session is not about Canadian policy around helping how to get Canadians out of trouble, but what we're jamming about is she's going to come up with some scenarios and then divide us into small groups, and people come up with what kind of decision would you make under pressure in a high stakes situation. It's high stress and it's very intercultural, it's very complicated. What would you do? And then she'll tell us what she did, because that's her job, right? So decision making, intercultural issues, high stakes, high stress, for real, live scenarios. These aren't made up. This is what she does. So she's going to talk. And then May 18th, toying with the idea of watching a MOOC, massive open online course about how to learn. So those, especially the networking sessions, are up for discussion. If you're like, that doesn't sound very interesting, I'd rather do this, please let me know. And if you have ideas for guest speakers, I just had a judge email me who does, I'm not entirely sure, I think peace building work, who's interested in speaking. So if you have ideas, let me know. Happy to work community, so contribute, let me know your ideas. And we're done, officially. So thank you. Thanks to everyone online. Erica, I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you again in Nairobi here. And Rizan and Leanne, and thank you. I know it's hard with the camera moving around, and we're still getting used to this online technology. Thanks to everyone here for making it through the gates, getting your badges in some cases. Do not take your badges off. Security will flip out if they see you without a badge. Don't take it off. You can take it off, of course, once you leave the compound, but leave it on. Enjoy. There's a cafeteria up there if you want to get a biting. And for some of you, it's the weekend pretty soon. So enjoy, and hope to see you next year. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone online. This will be recorded and available in about 2 seconds. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.